Today, we're reviewing the D&D killer, Deathbringer, by Professor Dungeon Master of Dungeoncraft. D&D has this annoying habit of slow combat, too many character options, and your characters being virtually unkillable. And Deathbringer solves this. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let me share my experiences with this game and show you why Deathbringer is truly killer D&D. Deathbringer is truly amazing. Like, I can remember a handful of times that I've played a game and have been completely immersed. The thing I like most about it is the Deathbringer dice. So it's like inspiration, but better, because you get to add a d6 to anything. Anything you can think of, anything you want to do. And they're stackable. Of course, it only goes up to so many, and then you have to use them, but hey, that's pretty good, in my book anyway. Another thing I love about this game is the flavor. I was gonna play a Deathbringer, and then when I was going through the classes, I saw the Grimscribe. And I was immediately intrigued. I'm like, ooh, I want to play that. I wonder if they have any spells. I really wanted to see the new spells. And it was kind of a letdown when I realized that you could just use, whatever spell system you wanted. But that makes sense. These are the quick start rules. So it makes sense that there's no standard spell system yet. And actually, thinking about it now, it's better because that means I can more easily run this game. Of course, I'd use D&D because I'm most familiar with the spells. But I think it gives a little bit more leeway to the DM. You could use ICRPG or Shadow Dark or D&D. As long as the spell system is compatible with the D20 system, you're good. In that way, it's brilliant. So as I mentioned before, I was gonna play a Deathbringer, but I decided to play a Grimscribe instead, and I am so glad I did because I love the flavor of the Grimscribe. It kind of reminds me of a few different novels that I've read. PC Cast and Kristen Cast's House of Night series, which if you don't know, it's a vampire series where every time a new spell is learned or they gain a new power, they gain a new tattoo. And another book I'm reminded of is the Cara Gillian series. And that one has to do with demons. But instead of tattoos, they're sigils. And they're branded onto your skin. And if you haven't read it, I recommend it. I recommend both of them, actually. So, the other thing about the Grimscribe I like is that the spells that you learn, you have to learn organically. You don't just get them if you level up. You actually have to learn them through a scroll, or someone has to teach it to you. It's more like a story element. And I think that's great. It's like, oh yeah, I get the spell when I level up. Well, that's kind of boring. If it was me, I'd want to remember the session where I learned that spell. And having a mentor is kind of cool. Like the Harry Potter series. And don't hate on me because I'm a Potterhead. I am. I admit it. I don't care about the politics. I just like the books. And so that's why I chose the Grimscribe, and I'm just really glad I did. So we talked about Deathbringer dice, we talked about the Grimscribe. Let's talk about the spells for a minute. Okay, so you can drag and drop whatever spell system you want as long as it's D20, right? Let's talk about the mechanics for a minute. So what I love about this is in some games, anytime you cast a spell, you get corruption. Anytime. So it's like they're punishing you for casting a spell. But not so in this game. You're fine as long as you don't get a natural 1 and flub the roll, right? And that's really great because honestly, if I get corruption every time I cast a spell, that kind of puts me off from being a spellcaster, and I lose interest because I don't want to deal with that. But I'm not being punished this time. I can use it. And I don't get corruption as long as my rolls are okay. And if they're not, then I roll on the mishap table, and who knows what's going to happen. That's part of the fun, right? That you don't know. And then you have to deal with those consequences. So that seems fair to me. Another thing I'll say about this game is character creation is so easy. Instead of rolling, you use a point-buy system. And I know it's not as fun as rolling as Crom intended.
Crom.
And I agree, it's not. But it's also faster, and this game focuses on a fast experience. It lends itself to fast action gameplay. I don't love it, but I understand why it's a part of the game. And I'm willing to overlook that because I think it's important to be fast. I remember when I was doing my character sheet, it took us maybe 10 minutes and that's being generous. And that's with my husband reading me all the different character classes, because it took me a while to decide what I wanted to be, and then I had to choose some other things, choose some equipment. I had to random roll my character, my backstory, and that all takes time. But, if you're sighted and you can see the tables, you can roll up a character in less than 5 minutes and jump right into gameplay. And I think that's so valuable because I can't think of a lot of other games that allow you to do that. I mean, there are, like Katanas and Kimonos is one, Shadow Dark is one, but, most other games like D&D and Star Wars and Conan, Star Trek, they all have really laborious character creation processes. And there's something about just jumping right into it that's just fun. I really like that, and I like the level up mechanic. Every time you play a session, you get a certain amount of XP. And once you reach a certain amount of XP, you can level up, right? What I find interesting, and I've never seen anyone else do this, is when you get to a certain number of hit points, you roll with disadvantage. And that's really interesting to me. It's to keep hit points low so that you don't have hit point bloat. So you can die. And I think that's cool. At first, I used to fear death because as a visually impaired player, it's really hard to make a character. And if you're playing D&D, it takes so much time. But I don't have to be afraid of this with Deathbringer because character creation literally takes minutes. And that's why there's an advantage there. The other thing that I love is the random roll backstories. So in the campaign we played, I random rolled it. I was a soldier.
As they're soldiers, sir. Like me.
And, that gave my husband license to make up a really compelling hook for me. And years before, there had been a war that we lost.
Everybody knows war. Yeah.
Now I'm just hanging out in this little town, working as a barmaid, trying to lay low because I'm a Grimscribe. Magic is illegal.
Stop! You violated the law.
And the witch hunters are looking to wipe out the last of this army that they defeated.
Holder the witch hunter.
And I learned all that just from my backstory. The paper buttons disappeared and I just reacted. And that's what we want initially. That's what immersion is, in my opinion. What I'm trying to say is, I think the backstory really helped me jump into Sage's personality and separate it from my own. And in that way, I was completely immersed. And that's great. The only problem you run into at that point is at the moment of truth, when you can use the thing on your character sheet that you really need. I forget to use it. I'm not used to playing a mage. I didn't cast that spell. I didn't put on mage armor. And I forgot that I had Deathbringer dice and I didn't use them. So what happens? I get hit, and technically, at that point, I'm dead. What I took away from that is, when you're completely immersed, you can't depend on your memory. So what you need to do is you need to use something tangible so that you can reach and you can feel that dice and you're like, oh yeah, I have a Deathbringer die. I can use that. That's just some little tricks that we have to use because if we can't see it and we're not thinking about it, then we're going to forget. And this game is perfect for me. There's not a lot of things to track. Not a lot to memorize. So I could easily run this game. I've run D&D before and it is loads different. With D&D, there's so much to track. Spells and modifiers and you name it, they've got it. But Deathbringer is easy enough that I can remember most things. And the way I want to run this game is I want to take advantage of the fact that no one can see in the dark. A lot of people depend on, light spells and candles and all this stuff when they dungeon delve. But in my world, they're not going to have that option. I'm working on a scenario where everything is in magical darkness. And the players, they can't use lights, they can't use candles, they can't use spells, nothing works. And so they're going to have to go in blind, navigate as I do, fight without sight, and tackle the terrain as a blind person would. And Deathbringer is a perfect game, a perfect setting to do what I want to do. What else can I say about this game? There's so many reasons to love it. I think the hardest thing, if you're a visually impaired player, is reading the rules. They do have a PDF of them, and so if you go to use the PDF, and it might work for you, but when I tried it, I could not get it to read with Adobe. There could be a number of reasons for that. But the tables present a problem, as they do with all games, because screen readers don't like tables. They don't like to read tables. So besides that, when I first opened up Deathbringer with my screen reader JAWS, job access with speech, it didn't read at all. So I thought, okay, time for the big guns. So I got out, I ran it through the optical character recognition feature that JAWS has. And I had some success with that. I was able to read most of it. There were some lines of extraneous text. You're probably better off, if you're blind, to have someone help you read it. Just ask your DM to help you read it and figure out your character. You know, because our screen readers are not perfect. And I'm sure there's something I can do on my end to make it work better, but I'm not an accessibility expert. I'm just glad I was able to read some of it. Some games I have previously tried to access, you can't read anything. So there's that. But don't let that discourage you from playing the game, because if it does, you are definitely going to miss out on something awesome. And I don't want that to happen to you. Gameplay is amazing. It lends itself to fast-paced, out-of-the-box thinking. You feel like you're in a movie. It's so cinematic. And the next Saturday that we don't have a game, I want to play again. We don't get that chance very often because usually we're playing with our group. Hopefully, I've convinced you to give Deathbringer a shot because it's totally worth it. And I cannot wait for the full version to come out. And that's why I think Deathbringer is Killer D&D. What do you think? If you try this game, definitely let me know. Don't forget to watch some of my other videos and also check out my socials. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, X. They're all in the description. And I have a mailing list. May your rolls be high, your spirits higher, and may your voice always weave wonders. See you for the next adventure. If you're still here, please help us slay the YouTube algorithm dragon by subscribing, sounding the enchanted bell, and ensuring all our notifications reach you so you're always ready for our next escapade. Remember, you have a voice that weaves wonders. So go forth and tell your tales, and I will see you in the next adventure. Thank you for watching.